Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Shane Johnson here, newscast extraordinaire, and today it is the new year, the mark of a new century. Tomorrow will be 1930s, and to celebrate the 1920s, I'm going to talk about all the good things and bad that went on. Aviation. In the 1920s, Charles Lindbergh became the first pilot to fly across the Atlantic. Good job, Charles. We're still looking for his son, so if anybody's seen him, call this number here. Prohibition. Prohibition was a big part of the 1920s. The government has outlawed the consumption of alcohol, so people found new ways to get drunk. One of those ways was homemade alcohol, which was so disgusting they had to mix it with other things to make it taste better. And that's where we got the cocktail. Women. The 1920s was seen as a decade of free will and fun times, especially for women. Women began to stray away from the social norm of being a housewife and started doing what they want. Technology. The 1920s brought forth many technological advances. With the widespread use of electricity, America was never the same. Inventions such as the television took Americans by storm. Harlem. During the time, New York was considered the birthplace of the modern age, and at the forefront of this new age was Harlem. Harlem was considered the promised land for African Americans at the time. This was known as the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was a time of literary and artistic excellence within the African American culture. Langston Hughes and Claude McKay were the time's best poets, and Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington were influential jazz artists. The Ku Klux Klan. While the 1920s were a prosperous time in New York, there was still much wrong in the world. At the same time of the Harlem Renaissance, the infamous Ku Klux Klan did the best they could to stop African Americans from thriving. The KKK would carry out sick acts on African Americans for racist and unjust reasons. The stock market crash. At the end of the decade, something no Americans predicted happened. The stock market crashed, and along with the stock market went all of America's money, ushering the new decade of the Great Depression. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning in. This is Shane Johnson, newscaster extraordinaire. See you next time.